When an SUV sits on a dealership lot for 200 days or more, something's wrong. It's like watching a brand new vehicle baking in the sun, week after week, while everything around it gets driven away. And today, we're going to uncover the hidden reasons why that happens. Because slow-selling SUVs don't stall out by accident. There are patterns, prices, engines, trim strategies, and real consumer behavior behind every one of these models. Some of them suffer from poor value, others have serious demand problems, and a few are simply victims of bad timing or an identity crisis in a segment that moves fast and punishes hesitation. By the time we finish this list, you'll know exactly which SUVs are stacking up on dealer lots right now, why they aren't selling, and whether they're hidden bargains or models you should walk away from. And stick around, because one SUV near the end is a shocker. It's a model that used to fly off lots, but now sits nearly invisible among unsold inventory. Let's get started with number 13, the Chevrolet Blazer. The Chevrolet Blazer has the badge, the history, and the design, but somehow misses the moment. The issue starts with price. Buyers walk into a Chevy showroom expecting value, but the Blazer often creeps into territory where better rivals sit. It's like going out for a burger and realizing it costs the same as a steakhouse entree. The deeper problem is packaging. Chevy positioned the Blazer as a sporty midsize, but gave it primarily value-focused powertrains. Most shoppers want either efficiency or performance, and the Blazer sits uncomfortably in the middle. Its 2-liter turbo is competent, but in a segment with hybrid Toyotas and silky Honda V6-like smoothness from turbos, competent doesn't stand out. And when buyers compare cargo space, they often feel like the Blazer is smaller than its bold, angular styling suggests. Because it is. Inside, the Blazer feels fine, but not exceptional. And buyers spending $40,000 to $50,000 want exceptional. Dealers report that people test drive it, enjoy it, but then say, "Let me check out the Hyundai dealer," and never return. And that's the death sentence in today's brutally competitive SUV market. But here's what makes this one interesting. Incentives are starting to climb, and when discounts rise, the Blazer becomes much more compelling, especially the 2-liter models. If you negotiate hard, a Blazer can quietly turn into a great mid-size deal. The next SUV shows what happens when a vehicle is priced even higher, without the brand strength to justify it. Moving on to number 12, the Nissan Murano. The Murano feels like a postcard from a different era. Comfortable, smooth, reliable, but lacking the modern features shoppers expect. Nissan hasn't significantly updated it in years, and in the SUV world, 5 years is a long time. 8 years is an eternity. The design is sleek, but the tech, engine, and interior layout feel dated next to newer competitors. Where the Murano excels is ride comfort. Its suspension tuning makes it feel like a rolling sofa, a calm, floating experience that many SUVs simply don't offer anymore. The 3.5-liter V6 is also one of the smoothest and most proven engines in the segment. But buyers under 50 rarely prioritize smooth V6 anymore. They want hybrid MPG, modern infotainment, and advanced driver tech. And this is where the Murano loses them. The infotainment screen looks small by today's standards. The interior materials are good, but not impressive compared to the leaps Hyundai and Toyota have made. And because it's an older platform, MPG lags behind hybrid competitors by 8 to 12 miles per gallon, a huge disadvantage today. Dealers say the Murano appeals to loyal older buyers, but that pool is shrinking. For younger shoppers, it's outclassed. But here's the interesting part. The Murano is often heavily discounted, and its V6 is butter smooth, making it a surprising long-term comfort pick if you don't care about cutting-edge tech. Before we move on, there's something worth mentioning. While researching slow-selling SUVs, I put together a full car buying and ownership guide, nearly 200 pages, that walks you through comparing models, budgeting realistically, and avoiding dealership traps. It even includes a spreadsheet I use personally to compare vehicles side by side. If you want to be sure you're not buying one of these lot sitters by accident, it's a solid tool. And honestly, costs less than a single shop diagnostic. link is in the description box below. Now, let's keep going. Coming in at number 11 is the Jeep Cherokee. Production ended in 2023, and the final models have been collecting dust ever since. What's left on lots is aging inventory of a discontinued SUV, and that alone hurts demand. But mechanically, the Cherokee had issues late in its run. The 2.4-liter Tiger Shark engine had oil consumption problems. The 9-speed automatic transmission went through years of tuning revisions, and reliability ratings never fully recovered. The Cherokee offered great off-road trims. Trailhawks were genuinely capable. But 90% of SUV buyers don't need that capability anymore. They want MPG, space, tech, and value, and the Cherokee fell short on all four near the end of its life cycle. Interior room was tight for a midsize. Cargo space lagged behind RAV4, CR-V, and even smaller crossovers, and MPG was below average for both engines. These compromises didn't matter when Jeep brand loyalty was strong, but in recent years, even lifelong customers have shifted toward Toyota, Subaru, and Hyundai. But here's the twist. The remaining Cherokees, especially the 4x4s, are being discounted heavily. For someone who wants light off-road ability without going full Wrangler, the Cherokee, especially with incentives, can still make sense. The next one shows what happens when an SUV tries to cover too many roles at once. At number 10, Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport continues the countdown. The Atlas Cross Sport looks sharp, drives smoothly, and offers excellent rear seat space, but its pricing lands in a tough gap. Buyers looking for value see cheaper Korean competitors. Buyers wanting luxury features drift toward Acura or Lexus. The Cross Sport tries to be sporty, but its engines aren't sporty. It tries to be premium, but its materials are more mainstream. It tries to be practical, but the sloping roof reduces cargo room, and depreciation hits Volkswagens hard. Shoppers know this and perceive it as a long-term cost risk. A Toyota Highlander hybrid might cost more up front, but owners trust it to hold value and last 15 to 20 years. Interior quality is fine, but not memorable. And VW's infotainment decisions, touch sliders instead of knobs, turned off a lot of shoppers. But here's the interesting thing. Updated models with the new turbo engine and improved materials are genuinely better, and dealers sitting on older units are negotiating aggressively. Next, we move from good but overpriced into a very different problem, a vehicle identity crisis. Coming in at number 9 is the Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. The name suggests performance, but what you get is an economical crossover with a modest turbo and a CVT. That mismatch creates confusion. The Eclipse name carries sporty history, and this SUV doesn't live up to it. The Eclipse Cross actually drives comfortably. Ride quality is good, reliability is improving, and Mitsubishi's warranty is one of the best in the industry. But shoppers compare it to the Corolla Cross, Kona, and HR-V, and those competitors feel newer, more efficient, and more polished. Interior materials are acceptable, but not standout. And the infotainment system turned off buyers early on, though newer models improved usability. The toughest challenge is visibility. Mitsubishi doesn't have the brand presence it once did. People simply forget to check the Eclipse Cross when shopping, even though its ownership costs tend to be low. When an SUV is like a quiet kid at a loud party, it's easy to overlook, even if it's got good manners and a kind personality. Things get even more interesting with the next model, one that once dominated its segment. At number 8, the Ford Edge makes the list. Ford discontinued the Edge for North America, leaving dealers with leftover 2023 and 2024 units, and that kills demand. Why buy a discontinued model when newer options have longer support? But the real irony is that the Edge is genuinely good. The 2.0-liter EcoBoost is strong. The ST trim is fast. Ride comfort is excellent. And long-term reliability on recent models has improved significantly. Interior space is one of its biggest strengths. Wide seats, roomy back row, and solid cargo room. But Ford never updated the platform enough to keep up. Competitors rolled out hybrids, new safety tech, bigger screens, and updated cabins. The Edge stayed mostly the same while the market sprinted ahead. Still, dealers have large inventories and are discounting heavily. Some edges sell for thousands under sticker, making them extremely attractive to someone who wants power and comfort without luxury brand prices. Before we move on, a quick note. A lot of viewers message me saying they feel overwhelmed comparing SUVs, prices, interest rates, and long-term costs. That's exactly why I built the car buying guide I mentioned earlier. It includes a budgeting planner and a maintenance tracker, so you can see the real cost of ownership before you sign anything. If you're cross-shopping any of these slow sellers, it'll save a ton of guesswork. Link is at the top of the description box. Now let's get to number 7. At number 7 comes the Buick Encore GX. Buick is caught in a strange place. It's not mainstream, it's not luxury, and the Encore GX suffers for it. Buyers don't know what the Buick brand is anymore. The Encore GX is actually a good little SUV. Smooth ride, quiet cabin, good safety features, and a surprisingly refined feel. But value perception becomes a problem. A fully loaded mainstream SUV costs the same and offers more room. A lightly optioned luxury SUV costs slightly more and offers better branding. The Encore GX ends up fighting uphill. The engines are economical but not powerful. The interior looks good but doesn't feel premium. And the design says modern but not must-have. But here's what makes it interesting. Used values are stable because Buick buyers are extremely loyal. So while new models sit on lots, used ones hold their value surprisingly well. The next one? A victim of market timing. Moving on to number 6, the Infiniti QX50. Infiniti positioned the QX50 as a technological flagship. The variable compression turbo engine was meant to revolutionize the segment. Instead, it sounded coarse, felt inconsistent, and paired poorly with a CVT. Luxury buyers want smoothness, and the QX50 can't match Lexus, Acura, or Genesis in that area. Interior design is pleasant, with layered materials and a warm aesthetic, but the outdated dual-screen infotainment system feels clunky. Luxury shoppers judge interiors critically, and the moment the tech feels old, the sale is lost. Dealers say the biggest issue is expectations. People assume an Infiniti SUV will feel luxurious. Then they test drive it, hear the engine note, feel the CVT drone, and move on. Yet there is a silver lining. QX50s with incentives often undercut top-trim CR-Vs and RAV4s, and comfort is genuinely good. Now we enter the top 5, the slowest of the slow sellers. At number 5 is the Jeep Compass. The Compass struggles because it charges near mid-size prices for a small SUV experience. Shoppers see the sticker, sit inside, and wonder where the money went. Interior quality has improved in newer models, with a larger screen and better materials, but the nameplate still carries the reputation of older, less reliable generations. Engine performance remains a sticking point. The Compass isn't quick, and the transmission feels sluggish at low speeds, frustrating for city driving, where most Compass buyers actually live. But the Compass has improved more than people realize. Newer models offer excellent tech, good ride quality, and strong AWD capability even in lower trims. Still, most buyers walk over to Toyota, Honda, or Subaru instead. And that's why the Compass sits. But number 4 shows what happens when an SUV segment moves faster than a manufacturer can keep up. Coming in at number 4 is the Subaru Solterra. The Solterra is Subaru's EV, but also Toyota's EV, and that dual identity both helps and hurts it. The biggest problem is charging speed. EV shoppers compare fast charging numbers obsessively, and the Solterra's DC charge rate is far below Tesla, Hyundai, and Kia. Road trips become slow, charging stops take longer, and shoppers don't compromise on that. Range is respectable but not leading, and in EV shopping, anything that looks mid-range gets dismissed quickly. Price is another hurdle. Subaru buyers expect value. EV buyers expect innovation. The Solterra sits in the middle, not cheap enough, not advanced enough, but AWD capability is excellent, and snow performance is a standout. And with Toyota's engineering behind it, long-term durability should be far better than many new EV brands. Before we hit the final 3, one quick thing. If you're considering any of these models, or avoiding them, my full car buying book walks through used EV buying depreciation patterns, negotiation scripts, and even how to spot flood cars. It's the most complete guide I've ever made, and well, it's cheaper than an oil change. Let's finish strong. At number 3, we have the Lincoln Nautilus. The new Nautilus is stunning. Big screens, incredible comfort, luxury-level quietness. And yet, it sits. The reason is perception. For decades, Lincoln buyers associated the brand with American manufacturing. The move to Chinese production created hesitation. Buyers don't know what this means for long-term quality or resale value. Then there's price. A loaded Nautilus enters German luxury territory, and once you hit the $55,000 to $60,000 range, shoppers start cross-shopping Lexus, BMW, Mercedes, and Genesis. Ironically, the Nautilus often beats them on features. But brand perception is powerful, and Lincoln is still rebuilding its identity. People who do buy the new Nautilus rave about the interior. The screens make everything else look outdated. But that's not enough to move inventory quickly. At number 2 is the Mazda CX-90 PHEV. Mazda aimed high, rear drive platform, premium materials, sharp steering. The CX-90 feels like it was designed to compete with BMW and Volvo, not Toyota and Honda. The problem is the plug-in hybrid model itself. The price is high, the electric range is limited, and many buyers realize they can get the turbo inline-6 for less money, with better real-world performance. Mazda's marketing also struggled. Shoppers weren't sure if this was a luxury SUV, a family hauler, an enthusiast's pick, or a fuel-saving option. When a vehicle tries to play too many roles, buyers hesitate. But here's the twist. When incentives hit, the CX-90 PHEV becomes an incredible deal, often cheaper than a Highlander Hybrid Limited. And finally, number 1, the Jeep Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer. These two are the kings of lot sitting right now. They launched with massive hype, big size, big V8, and now twin-turbo i6 power, massive towing, and high-end interiors. But demand cooled fast. Fuel economy is alarming for some buyers. Insurance is high, maintenance is expensive, and depreciation has been steep. Luxury brand competitors hold value better, and buyers sense that. Then there's the price war. GM, Ford, Jeep, and even Cadillac are all battling for 3-row SUV dominance, and incentives shift daily. The Wagoneer often ends up looking overpriced when rival brands throw huge discounts on the table. Dealers report inventory sitting 200 to 300 days. On some lots, rows of Wagoneers haven't moved in months. But with the right incentive package, a Wagoneer transforms from too expensive to best value in the full-size segment. It all comes down to timing and patience. Slow-selling SUVs reveal the pulse of the market. They show where automakers miscalculated, where pricing is out of sync with demand, and where shoppers want something different than what's being offered. But they also hide opportunities because models that sit on lots long enough eventually attract discounts big enough to shift the value equation entirely. If you want help navigating that balance, everything I've learned is in my full car buying guide. It breaks down negotiating, ownership cost planning, used market trends, and side-by-side comparison tools so you can make the smartest call possible, no matter what you end up driving. Now before you go, the next video you should watch is 15 SUVs that crashed in value from 2024 to 2025. If today's list showed you which SUVs dealers can't move, that next one shows you which models took the hardest financial hits and why. It reveals which SUVs are secretly incredible used buys, which ones are money pits in disguise, and what the depreciation curves look like behind the scenes. It's the natural next step if you want to understand where the best deals and biggest risks really are. I'll meet you there.